I'm talking with Graeme Haycroft, who's had a very successful track record in providing competitive, genuine service to union members by essentially breaking a monopoly and offering options. Tell me about your foray into nursing and the services you're offering nurses now in Queensland.
Well, it all started when I retired from my business in 2012. And at that stage, I'd been fiddling with the idea that we needed to break this monopoly by providing an alternate service. And I thought, well, we fiddled around for a while. We helped auxiliary firefighters, and we learned a lesson there. A little existing security group learned a good lesson that you can't take over an existing group and expect them to change their ways and get a different result. So we had a look at teachers, and we were going to go down that track, and then a group of nurses on the Sunshine Coast, Anne Vigar and Marg Polly in particular, and Brenda Bimrose, were interested in setting up a nurses association. So we reformed. Cass Seaver and I got together and decided that we would pursue this as a project. I'd retired, and I thought, well, this won't be hard to do. We'll get the thing going, and immediately, thousands of nurses will join us because there's 55, 60,000. Anyway, life doesn't quite work that way. If you want to start a new business, you have to chew glass for about 5 years, and nothing different about this. It's just a business. And we looked at nursing. Q&U were charging around about $650 a year. I figured out we couldn't do it for $350, we shouldn't be even trying. And it turns out that number's about right, by the way. We're just on break-even point now, and we'll clearly be in front when we get to 3,000 members at Christmas time. But it's taken a lot longer than I thought, because I discovered that actually no one knows how to run a union anymore. The existing unions have all been around for 100 years, and they're just people sort of pass through and they just continue with what they've been doing. Starting it from scratch was a lot more difficult, although we had Sid Cramp's Paramedics Association concept to follow. Mm-hmm. So we just got in, decided, wrote a constitution, and the constitution and the structure. And I can talk a little bit about the structure. The structure is you've got a constitution which is run by nurses. The constitution does not allow any political support in terms of money. So no...
Expressly forbidden.
Expressly forbidden. In fact, even better than that, there's a mechanism to catch executives who actually try it and say, we'll get away with it. No, they won't. So the association cannot spend money on political party political purposes.
Yeah. So this isn't just a conservative LNP union?
No, the LNP will get not a cent, nor will anybody get a cent. All the nurses want, we've discovered, is service in terms of they get issues come up all the time, enormous amount of bullying. They want their EBAs negotiated. In the non-government sector, we can do that. In the government sector, in practice, we're finding we're able to do it, although the legislation has been specifically written to exclude us. But that'll change. Hopefully, if there's a change of government, they'll at least do that much for us. And so my company, with Cass Seaver and Glenn Ferguson, lawyer, former president of the Law Council of Australia, so he knows what he's doing. He's got he provides the legal services for us. A company called Cross Group actually provides the services under contract. Right, so we don't tell the nurses what to do, they make the decisions, but we handle the business end of it. Right? And we get 80% of the money, the fee money comes to us, and we've funded the startup of it. And over time, when the contracts are renegotiated, probably that percentage will change. But we don't anticipate that we'll ever be in a sort of a major monopoly position. There's 60,000 members of the Q&U. I reckon the Q&U will probably reform itself and maybe keep 15,000 of those, and the other 45 or 40,000 will be with us and our competitors, because other people will come in and copy us.
Why do you think the Q&U will reform?
Well, After a while, they're charging $650 and we're charging $350, and they're not doing a very good job. You know, nurses aren't stupid. You know, they will follow the money. They've been watching us to make sure that we can actually provide the service.
You or nurses?
Well, the nurses have. They all knew about us, and they all know about us now.
Are the Q&U trying to take you down, or are they trying to ignore you for now?
Well, they've done if I was advising them, I'd say ignore us, and they've done that. But they're now starting to get very irritated, and there's now sort of a
People enjoying a monopoly don't like it ending.
They hate it, and they really don't know what to do. They're ringing people and telling them that we can't be trusted and we're all political and all this sort of crap. But people aren't stupid. So, the membership, we're only tiny now. We're 1,500, but by this time last year we were 400.
It's good growth.
And by Christmas we'll be 3,000, and by the following Christmas we'll be 10,000. At which time the Q&U's got to make a decision. Do we wait till next year we go from 10,000 to 40,000? Or do they do something about their charge rate and their service? Now, that's going to be a real challenge for them.
So that's why they're going to have to reform, simply because of competition?
Yeah.
Okay.
Around about $200 per member, the Q&U money finds its way to ALP causes. At least that.
Out of the 650?
Yeah.
So
and we're running for
that's where the extra fees go.
Yeah, but a lot of it's extra staff that are ostensibly working on nurse businesses, but really working on political business, and they're grossly inefficient. Kath Seaver and I are business people, and our challenge is to manage the servicing. Manage the work that goes to the lawyers, manage the work that goes to the management people, consultants that have to handle the issues. And that's our challenge, and I think we're up to it.
So if there's a nurse watching now, let's do a shameless promotion for you.
Oh, good.
What exactly would you be able to offer a nurse that the Q&U has demonstrated a lack of willingness or ability to do?
Well, let's talk about I'll get to that. What the Q&U offers is professional indemnity insurance, which is required for nurse registration. We do that too. The EBA negotiations, we do that too. Dealing with nurse issues where people are being bullied, or in many cases deservedly so, but mainly nurse issues which need to be resolved. They do it. We do it too. I believe we do it better because 95% of the issues are management related. And Kath and I are managers, and the people we'll be putting on to do this will not be industrial relations freaks or lawyers. They will be managers. We'll teach them, and we know the sort of person we want to do it. So that's what they do. That's what we do. What they do different is they constantly involve in political campaigns and industry campaigns. They've got this nonsense about nurse ratios. This is where there has to be a set ratio of nurses. And it all sounds good until you realise that health budgets are pretty much fixed. So if you're going to have a set ratio of nurses, one, you've got to administer it, and two, that means that the more expensive nurses, which are the highly qualified ones, are going to be a problem with the nurse ratio on a budget. So the pressure is on to reduce the number of qualified, expensive nurses and replace them with less qualified, cheaper nurses, which is the younger nurses.
Less experienced.
Yeah. So
lower quality care.
Well, how about a career option where you're getting a job now, but as you become more experienced,
you become a liability.
You're in for the job.
Yeah.
And I just can't understand. Oh, well, I think the main reason nurses don't understand it is we haven't been successful enough yet in explaining these things.
My old friend economics, I love it. It's just how the world works. And if you deny economic realities, you're literally sticking your head in the sand and pretending that the world isn't round. And there's people who do that. But that's just the reality. When you get more valuable, if you have to have a high number of nurses, you can't afford a high cost nurse because you get 2 nurses or 2 nurses for the price, 3 nurses for the price of 2. If you go for the cheaper ones, that's just basic economics.
Oh, and the other thing that's fascinating is that there's this view that the management and administration are somehow immune from all this. And the HR people who are really, the HR people in the hospitals dealing with the HR people in the Q&U have largely caused all this. And they live in fairyland, and they've made all the issues extremely complex, all of which require more administration and all of which require more management. So you don't need too many brains to figure out, if we could make it all simpler, you don't need these levels of administrators and the number of HR people. I mean, it would, if you wanted to record a really loud cheer, I would suggest that a way to do it is to get every nurse in Queensland and put them in Suncorp Stadium, and then someone stand up and say, "We're going to get rid of all the HR people." You'd hear the cheer in London.
So I assume you're not recruiting HR people to your union.
No way. I think there's about 1 in 100. I'm actually dealing with one this week who's actually bloody good. He's the exception. But the rest of them are just, they call themselves people and culture. Oh God.
All right, when we come back, let's have a chat about exactly where the money's going and maybe some of the recent interesting events, such as the payroll debacle.
Okay.
When we come back. Thanks for watching. If you really enjoyed that video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Have a look at this great video next, and check out the website for even more interesting articles and episodes later.